All right, we're visible. Everybody can see us. Be scared. No, I was
I am a little
kidding.
bit, you know.
Yeah. All right, so the nerve hit right there at the end. No, I will cut this out of the audio version. It's fine. This is only for the people watching on Twitch. Which,
Oh yeah.
so here it goes. Welcome to the Geekdom podcast, issue 1. We're back after a very, very, very long hiatus. I am your host, Joseph. Back, I was gonna say back with me, but with me for the first time is Nate. Say hello, Nate.
What's up, guys? I figured I'd come along on this journey. We kind of have the same kind of passion for gaming and stuff, so I figured it would be a good opportunity.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. You know, we've been talking about this for a while, so I am just happy to be doing it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And yeah, it's. I like how you were the one that was worried about everything, but I'm the one stuttering today now. After
Oh, hey,
not worrying about anything for forever.
listen, I'm sure the stuttering for me will come. You just wait it out, man. It'll be there.
But yeah, so after a very very long hiatus, I decided it was time to do this again. So and me and Nate talked about it, and he seemed like the perfect co-host. So I think we're gonna have a lot of fun doing this. And you know, anybody that knows me from before, you know, I co-hosted the podcast for almost 2 years, and
Wow.
a part-time Twitch streamer in between, a very part-time Twitch streamer in between, like a couple of times a month. But you know, I've kept a lot of connections within the video game industry. I know a couple people, but nobody big. And you know, decided it was time to do this again. So Nate, you want to tell them a little bit about yourself before we get started, or?
Sure, man. I've been in kind of a lull with streaming, but I used to stream 7 days a week. I did it for like 4 years straight. Um, I just have like a general passion for all video games. Now, that doesn't mean I necessarily fuck with everything, but I enjoy the products that people make. Um, like some of my favorite games currently, some stuff I can't get away from. I've been super back into Heroes of the Storm lately. I don't know why, but I have. Rocket League is something I literally can't put down. It's like an addiction.
Yeah,
Um,
you don't want to play that game with Nate. It's like, especially if you're bad at
Wait, what do you
it.
mean? I wasn't that mean. I
No,
was all right.
no, you were fine, but I felt bad afterwards. I was like, it felt like you were, you know, Nate was the adult pulling the kid in the wagon behind him.
I felt like I was playing Death Stranding and just had a backpack on the entire time.
It was. He stumbled a little bit. There was a couple of creatures along the way, but he made it.
It was rough.
But yeah, you mentioned Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm is a game that I played for 2 days.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. One time, me and Chris got into it. It was one of those times where they had like the Overwatch crossovers, where you could get a skin in Overwatch by playing so many games of Heroes of the
right.
Storm with a friend. And I was like, okay, teach me how to play Heroes. And then as soon as we got enough matches, I was like, you know what? I think I'm done.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not really your style of game.
Nah,
Just
nah.
MOBAs in general.
Yeah, MOBAs, really MOBAs in general. I've tried it. I've tried a League. That was an experience. That was like a 2 day experience. Like that was some toxic, like right
Oh
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I went to install Dota, and I was like, wait a minute, if League is toxic, I've heard Dota's 5 times worse. I'm not even gonna
It
click it.
it is probably 1,000 times worse and 1,000 times more difficult than League ever thought about, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's really rough.
So I saved myself some hate, but just not
Oh
playing
yeah.
it.
Did did you ever hear about the MOBA Paragon? You might actually be into that.
I've seen it, but I never played it. Like,
So it got canceled. The servers got destroyed
yeah.
way back in the day. But supposedly a remake was released on Steam, not like yesterday or the day before.
Oh
So I need
wow.
to look into that.
Yeah, that would actually be really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, MOBAs just in general so far. So far, yeah, I even tried the DC Comics one.
I didn't know there was a DC Comics one.
Most people didn't, and that was probably the problem.
Oh,
So
well,
yeah,
yeah, no advertising.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, like they hit it hard for like a month, and then you never heard about it again, and then 6 months later they shut down the servers. So
You know, there was a random game I played a long time ago on my stream that was kind of the same way, but it was a racing game. It was called Anti-Graviator, I think that's what it was called. I thought that game could be huge, and like
yeah.
I waited like 35 minutes for an online match. Nobody.
Well, did you ever look at the Amazon game that come out a couple of months ago? Amazon, like it was big for one day on Twitch because they paid everybody to play it.
I didn't like do a ton of diving into it, but I did watch some videos, and I mean it kind of seemed like Atlas without boats, but on land. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, they've already taken that game back into closed beta.
oh
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
and on top of that, like you would think it being Amazon that they would at least advertise a little better than just like one day of random streamers, not
Yeah.
even really random streamers, but big name streamers,
Yeah,
and
they
then
basically hit all the big names, play it for four
yeah,
hours, and you know, next day the it was down to like 2,000 people playing it, and now nobody.
there's probably less.
Yeah, but that's enough of. I mean, that's our random babbling for the week. So,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was all random. So, let's get into the news for the week. The news for the week starts with last Sunday. Ubisoft had their what they called Ubisoft Forward event, and basically showing off what we're going to get for the rest of the year, and what they showed off. Well, and the beginning of next year, and all of it looked good. Like Watch Dogs Legion, can't wait to play that.
Oh god, yeah.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like if the rumors are true, Valhalla is releasing on that day, November 17th is the same day that the PlayStation 5 will launch.
Right.
So, that instantly becomes another day one PlayStation 5 title. And then they showed off Far Cry 6.
They really it was kind of more of like a teaser trailer,
Yeah.
and to be fair, like in my opinion, it looks like every other Far Cry game. There, it's like a dystopian country where the fucking the community or the civilians of that country are rebelling.
Yeah.
It's the same basic storyline.
Yeah. I mean, the Far Cry games are just these big dumb open sandbox games.
Definitely.
It's one of those either like you love them or hate them type deals.
Right.
Like I didn't complete 4, but I played the hell out of 5, and even played. I have Primal. I never did play it, but then 5 had that complete spin-off that was like New Dawn. That was set in the same place as 5 was, but like 20 years in the future.
Right. Yeah.
And I played that one. It was fun too.
I don't remember what the last one I played was. I can't remember the name of it. Was it 4 maybe?
Was that the one with the pagan men? Like
No, what maybe Far Cry 5 was the one based in America with the cult?
Yes. Yep. Joseph
That's the
C.
one I played, Jeff.
Yep. 5 was that one. And then a lot of people though, especially people that play all the games, they always say, "Oh, Far Cry 3 is the best one. The one that was like it was set on like an island."
Yeah.
Yeah. But the rumors are, and I don't know if you saw this or not, but the main protagonist from 3, the dude with like the cut above his eye,
Uh-huh.
that the kid in 6 is him. So this game is actually set in the past.
Oh.
Yeah.
So wait, that's actually super interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a lot of people because you know that cut that he had in his eyebrow. That kid has the exact same one.
Right, right. Yeah, I'm a sucker for a prequel. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it'll be interesting, and you know, whenever a lot of people will tell you not to pre-order. I, on the other hand, pre-order stuff all the time. Uh, and the collector's edition for Far Cry 6 comes with a replica of the flamethrower from in the game that's about yay big.
That's amazing.
And I was like, all right, I'll take that.
I want a flamethrower in my house. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I mean, it might not be a legally working one. I mean, I'm sure. I mean,
I'm sure it's not, but
yeah.
still.
You know, there's somebody though that's gonna like drill a hole in it and fill the tank and like attach a lighter to the front of it and blow themselves up. But
That was literally, if you didn't end that with blow themselves up, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
But yeah, that looked good. But I think of the 3, like the one that I'm most interested in and I still have the most to learn about is Watch Dogs Legion.
That's a really hard choice for me. Like the entire Viking setting of Valhalla just seems amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that you have to build your settlement up and then progress that way is super cool.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Watch Dogs, where you can basically recruit any fucking NPC,
Yeah.
period, and make them a part of your rebellions, insane.
Yeah.
And they're playable.
Yeah, I think there's like 8 different classes, so you
Yeah.
know each person you recruit will be one of those 8 different classes. But you know, in that footage is the first time they showed off like the John Wick guys. Basically, the guys
yeah.
that were like disarm a dude, bam, pop him in the head. We hadn't seen those characters before, and I was like, oh yeah, I just want a team full of those.
Well, like I think it's really cool that they're giving the player the option to play the game how they want to play it.
Yeah.
And that's something that's not really done a whole lot. So I think it's a really good option, man. I think that game's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, you know, in the last Assassin's Creed game, they kind of played more with that, to where, you know, they give you a couple options, but now they're saying in this Watch Dogs game that it's going to be like 4 or 5 different ways to complete a mission, depending on what kind of characters you're using. You know, you can go in John Wick style, or you can stealth through it as a grandma. You know,
like not even that. I seen. I think I remember in the post show like playthrough of Watch Dogs, or no, that was Assassin's Creed. But in the trailer for Watch Dogs, you could actually recruit like a member of Albion.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
go through. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Key card, fuck shooting people. I'm just gonna walk straight through. You know?
Yeah, but I think they did mention that making sure you don't get outed as a member. Like, other people around you watch what you do. So if you go into Albion and start doing a bunch of weird shit, they're gonna realize.
Right, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so I like that.
But yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, that one comes out October 28th, and then it's November 17th for Assassin's Creed. And yeah, I dig the Viking setting in a big bad way, but you know, I'm still waiting for that, you know, samurai Assassin's Creed, you know, ninja Assassin's Creed game that everybody's wanted for 20 years. It feels like
they kind of need it. Like in my opinion, Assassin's Creed's kind of went away from the assassin story a hair.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're more focused on the direct time period instead of how everything affects the assassin lineage. And I believe, like, personally, if they did go to kind of a samurai or ninja way, they could bring it right back super easy.
Yeah. Yeah, which, the closest thing I guess we're going to get to that for a while is Ghost of Tsushima.
I need to watch more on that game. I need to get a PlayStation and play that game.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it. I wasn't going to talk about it this week. All I'm going to say is I'm about 3/4 of the way through it. I will talk about it next week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear about it.
But during the Ubisoft Forward event, they hit on a couple. They always had their Just Dance games because people buy them every year and they make a bunch of money.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know that Brawlhalla game that they have is a free to play game. It's like a free to play Smash Brothers game.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was free to play.
Yeah, I didn't really realize that it was one of their games, but I'm pretty sure I've played that like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Pretty fun little game, man.
Yeah. But they have a bunch of projects in the works though that we never heard a peep about. So we never saw anything about Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah.
Skull and Bones.
Where is that game? Oh God, I've been waiting for that game.
Yeah, I was watching a podcast the other day, and Co Carnage, he said, "I've been waiting for that game for 4 years. I just want it.
Yep.
I don't care how good it is anymore. I just want it." But now, like the last rumor was that the game was delayed so they could turn it into a more of a live service game.
I mean, I can get that, I guess, but like. Ever since like Sea of Thieves kind of was a letdown for me personally, yeah. I've been looking forward to that game so much. And
yeah, I played Sea of Thieves like one time for about 4 hours. I think that's all I ever put into it. Like it's one of those types of games that like if you have a group of friends, it's great to play. If you're just running around trying to do this stuff by yourself, it'll get boring fast.
Like my whole outlook on it is. If you have like 4 hours and like 3 other friends and nobody knows what to play, yeah. Sea of Thieves is probably pretty good for that 4 hours. Yeah. But after that, you're going to be looking for another game to play.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I 100% agree with that. But yeah, that was basically the Ubisoft event. They've got some. They might be the go-to video game producer in the early stages of this next generation console.
From what they showed in comparison to, I mean, the little we've seen from everybody else, I believe they will be the go-to company, man. Like, they're really on their shit.
Yeah. Microsoft has their event this coming week. Where they're supposed to show stuff off. And, we'll get into that later in the news. And, yeah. But the next bit of news we got is just a funny thing that came out this week. A viral video of Henry Cavill building a computer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, man? Like, I didn't think he was that big of a dude, but, like, I'm sitting next to my tower, and my tower's pretty big. And he was, like, next to it, like, I'm going to shrimp this thing, man.
Yeah.
He's a huge dude.
And I like that, you could tell at times he wasn't 100% sure what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
And then, because he said in interviews and stuff that, he's always pre-bought his PCs, that building one day was something that he would always do, but he always just bought, a really expensive PC and just went on.
Right.
And then this video came out, and it was all, top of the line stuff. It was a very nice setup. And but whenever he started it and realized the cooler was on upside down.
Oh God, yeah. We've all been there.
Yeah,
though.
Yeah, we've all been
everybody's like, oh, it's finally done. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like the first time I built my first computer, I couldn't even get it to post the first time. Like I was like, okay, what's wrong? Okay, no, all the lights came on, but nothing's showing up on my monitor. What's going on? Then I had to take it all apart, push really hard on my graphics card, and it finally clicked. Apparently, I didn't have it all the way in, and I was like, "Oh, thank God."
I've built so many now that I just kind of like throw everything in there.
Yeah. Because
like when you first start, you're like, man, this stuff's like super fragile. What you don't realize is you have to shove the shit out of some of that stuff to get it in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. I'm 4 computers in now from that first build, so now it's like, whatever.
One of the funniest things about that entire video is you can see him unbox some of the stuff, and he unboxes a Ryzen CPU,
Yeah,
and initially it's not blurred out what the company is,
yeah,
but like 15 seconds longer when he's actually putting it onto the motherboard, it's blurred out. I was like, it's a little too late for that, man. We already know.
yeah.
I agree with his decision though to go Ryzen.
100%. You know, we're streaming this show from a Ryzen PC right now, so
Yep, same.
yeah. And the next one will be an even more powerful Ryzen. So I've actually never built an Intel computer.
Me either, actually. But before this, before this, I had an FX 8320.
Yeah, I had a couple of computers ago now. I had the FX 6350.
Okay.
Yeah, and I used it for a while. Funny enough, I tried to stream from it a couple of times while playing PUBG with friends, and that was interesting.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. I think graphics card was like a 960.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little rough. I've only changed processors once. I went from an 8320 to a 1700 base, not an X. Yeah. But I've changed GPU 3 times. I had a 780, then I had a 1070, and now I have a 2080. So, like, I need to upgrade this CPU soon.
I have a new graphics card, but it is not in this computer. It is for the next one.
I mean, I don't blame you.
Yeah, like, this computer's not allowed to touch it. And that's only because of the fact that I hate this Aorus motherboard with every bit of my being. Like, it just caused me nothing but problems. I can't wait. The next one will have an Asus motherboard whenever you can buy motherboards again, because right now they are rare.
Oh, not only are they rare, they're so expensive. Like, oh my god, motherboards are insane right now.
Yeah, and see, I paid like $250 for this motherboard. Like, it is top of the line from, you know, that it's a second gen Ryzen motherboard, but I would beat it with a hammer if I could right now.
I think mine was actually pretty cheap. I think I only paid like 130, 140 bucks for mine, but it's an X370 too, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I will go back to Asus this time, and it'll probably be cheaper and work a million times better.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But our next bit of news we got for this week is just Dr. Disrespect. Like, this is getting weirder and weirder, and the longer it goes on, the less I believe him.
I don't believe him at all anymore.
Yeah.
I don't believe him. I don't believe his publicist at all. There's just some weird shit going on, and nobody wants to speak up about it.
Yeah, it's weird. And it was really weird that his publicist cut him off in the middle of that interview too.
See, it was such a weird questionnaire. So the interviewer asked Doc about like his comments towards COVID and 5G.
Yeah.
And asked if Twitch had ever said anything about him or about those comments to him.
Yeah.
And Doc said no, and his publicist said they were getting into dangerous territory.
Yeah.
What was that dangerous territory?
Yeah, I mean, to me though, that says there's something there they don't want us to know.
There has to be.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be.
Yeah. But
they're doing a really bad job of covering up whatever it is. Well, I guess they're doing a good job of keeping the information of what actually happened hidden, but they're not doing a really good job of keeping people from asking questions.
Yeah, it's weird too, because early on there was some people saying, I know the reason he's banned, I can't say it, and now even those people are just silent. Like, if you know it, just get it out there already. Take whatever, because obviously whatever it is, there's going to be a backlash. So take your lumps now and move on.
Well, like another thing, like during this whole ban, it's the first time in history Twitch has ever refunded subs, so we
Yes.
know it's fucking serious.
Yeah.
Like it's something huge.
Yes.
And another thing is Doc also stated that he would never go back to Twitch, and I don't know if that's by choice of his own or
Yeah. It might not be his choice. I'm thinking it's not his choice.
yeah, same, absolutely.
But piggybacking off of that, our next news topic is one I'm just going to touch on briefly because one of the rumors about him is allegations, sexual misconduct,
Oh yeah,
and it has been happening in the streaming and YouTube gaming communities a lot.
it's definitely blown up.
Like, it is just, there's a lot of guys out there when you read stuff that'll make your skin crawl.
Oh, dude, some of the stuff's so awful. Like I kind of don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, we're not going to get into details. We're not going to call out specific names. Just most of these allegations, are horrible. 90% of them are horrible, and it's not just guys. There's a couple of girls that have had allegations come out against them, but majority guys. But I will say, most gamers aren't the most socially smart people, I guess is the best way to say that.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's good.
And whenever they have fame and money, it's just going to make the problem worse.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I don't know if you looked at the Google Doc that I put up. There's a lot of names on there.
I did. And when all the allegations started happening, I figured it would be, 10, 20 people, just people nobody had ever really heard of, but still had some sort of fame. But man, there's a lot. There's a lot more than I ever thought there would be.
Yeah, and the two specific communities on Twitch that seem to have the most of them, like they're spread out amongst a lot of stuff, but there's a couple of big Minecraft streamers that got hit.
Yep.
There's several Destiny streamers, over a dozen.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 streamers, and I forgot what. There's another community too, and it just completely went away of what it was. But speedrunning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of surprised me more than anything.
Yeah.
Out of everything, because that community kind of like tends to stick to itself, and that's it.
Yeah. It's a very at least in the past, it seemed to have been a very self-policing community.
Yeah.
So. But unfortunately, that's just part of life, and we'll just have to see, how it continues.
It's kind of crazy. Like, you expect there to be bad people. There's bad people everywhere in the world. Like, there's whatever you search into or look into, there's bad people. But man, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those crazy things. I thought we would address it briefly. That's basically all we got to say about it. Is there's shitty people out there all over the world. Just watch yourself. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But our next bit of news this week is Microsoft put out a bunch of news, and only some of it was news. So
I mean, yeah, that's a great way to say that.
So basically they came out and said that if you don't want to buy their next generation console, it's okay, because all their exclusive games, they made sure they say exclusive games because they can't force other people to make games for the older consoles, will be basically, compatible with your old Xboxes. And also they people are like, oh man, they're going to let us keep our controllers too. Now they're going to let you keep the uber expensive $150 controller that you bought.
which truthfully I can't say anything.
Because
I have an Elite
yeah,
controller,
yeah,
so
yeah. Like I've always wanted one, but I never, you know. Like on PC, I play with PlayStation 4 controller, so
believe it or not, I've actually been wanting to try Rocket League with a PlayStation 4 controller. I may have to go buy one.
yeah. Well, that one time, the time that we played, I used an Xbox controller, but now I have a PS4 controller hooked in because most PCs won't natively find a PlayStation 4 controller.
Right.
So but there's a program out there called DS4, and you run it one time, and every game after that will pick up PlayStation 4 controllers.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
back to the whole Xbox
Yeah.
news thing. I think what they're doing, like the reverse compatibility and not having to really buy the new console, is great for consumers.
Yeah.
But it's not great for business. I mean, sure, you kind of win some hearts there, but like Microsoft has been in a slump for a while, and I'm not sure like this is the smartest choice for them at all.
Yeah. Yeah, they are, the least selling, which they stopped releasing numbers, so that's what Xbox fans will tell you. Oh, we don't know what the official. They stopped releasing numbers because they weren't selling anything.
Right. I mean,
and it's just weird to me. Go ahead.
I think what they're trying to do is at least an improvement from this generation, but they're gonna need more. They're gonna need exclusives that actually pull people in. That's the only way to win this console war, man. I really believe that.
I mean, with this news, like I probably wasn't going to get a next generation Xbox anyways until there was probably a price cut or something in them, or it had a reason for me to want it. But now that I can use this S that's mounted on my wall over here and my computer, like Halo was probably the only thing that I've seen so far that I had the mildest interest. But you're telling me that it's going to be available on my computer and my old console day one on Game Pass? Like I'll continue to pay for your Game Pass. I mean, I practically stole 8 months of it, but whenever they had their little rewards things where they're like, hey, do this and do this and do this to get months. And I'm like, okay, I bought 3 months, I got 11, thanks.
Yeah, it's great. But I mean, like, I know Halo has been like the thing Microsoft has tried to use for fucking years, and Halo just isn't what it used to be.
No,
I know it still has a great player base, but it's not that like anchor that they used to have to keep them grounded.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with that. It's not what it used to be. There's no competitive scene. Like the Halo World Championships from 2 years ago looks like it was like I remember seeing the videos from outside, and it looked like it was being held in a fancy shed.
Yeah,
with one banner hanging outside that was like Microsoft event.
The crazy thing is like old school like Street Fighter tournaments, like the original Street Fighter tournaments, look better than it did.
Yeah, it is a little crazy. 100% a little crazy, but it is what it is.
For Microsoft and Xbox, I really hope they pull together, because competition is good for consumers.
Yeah, and 100%.
I just hope they find their niche, I guess. I really hope they find something that works for them, man.
Yeah. Yeah, because, PlayStation 4 and Switch, they live in very different spaces,
Oh, yeah.
Rarely do you have the choice of, am I playing my new Assassin's Creed game on a Switch or a PlayStation 4? There's no competition there. And just like, I'm playing Zelda, I'm buying, only one place to buy it. So, it's just one of those things. And there are occasionally, like, the indie games. Like, I ended up buying Journey to the Savage Planet on my Switch, just because I thought it would be a fun game to take with me on the go. Not that I go, but I'm in semi-permanent lockdown. It feels like sometimes. So
Right.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, they had a couple of good things, and yeah, I mean, it's good that you can use your $150 controller and your adaptive controllers, because I know those adaptive controllers aren't cheap for people that have disabilities.
Right. Right.
But beyond that, it's not like I can pick up this controller right here and be like, hey, I'm gonna use this on my Xbox Series X version X, whatever it's called.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever they decide to deem it, whatever
Yeah.
random letters.
Yeah.
But no, I super agree with that. Like they have to find their niche. They have to find what they do super well, and I think they've lost that over the years, man.
Yeah.
They just really have.
It's kind of weird, they went from their first generation console was number 2 in
Yeah.
that time. Then they went to number 1 with the 360.
Yep.
Even after all those 360s blew up on people, they still stuck with 360. PlayStation 4.
Which I guess that can kind of be.
Yeah.
I mean, accredited to my 360 red ring. I got to go buy another one.
Yeah, it's true. But and eventually PS3 did catch it. But it took until the end of the console cycle where less people were buying 360s and more people were going back and buying PS3s to play games like The Last of Us and the God of Wars. And that's something that Sony has that Microsoft doesn't, is the exclusives.
Yep.
That people care about,
And that, in my opinion, that wins 10 times out of 10. Like, sure, I mean, like you mentioned, the indie games that that Xbox has every now and again. Sure, those are great.
Yeah.
But they're great for a little while.
Yeah.
They're not going to pull people in. So.
Yeah. I mean, even in the early days of the 360, though, you got to think for like 2 or 3 years, there were several indie games that you could only play on a 360. Like they didn't even have PC releases. Like, and then this console generation, they had Inside before anybody else, and I think there was one other big indie game that they had before anybody else. But Inside was a big one, and the people that made Inside, what in the world is the name of that first game they made? Limbo. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Limbo was exclusive to the 360 for several years. It was one of the reasons to buy a 360.
And it's pretty rare too that an indie game can really pull numbers like that. It's super rare. I just don't think banking your money on exclusive indie games is the way to go. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. But yeah, well, I mean, we'll see what they do. I mean, I'm sure next week, one day this week, they're supposed to have like their big reveal conference where they actually show off games. Unlike the joke conference they had a couple of months ago, where like they were teasing, check out this exclusive Assassin's Creed gameplay, and we never saw gameplay. Nothing that ever looked like gameplay. But then Ubisoft had their event this week, and we saw like 4 hours, hours of gameplay.
It's I don't know, man. Honestly, though, for Microsoft and Xbox and for consumers around the world, I really hope they pull it together.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, because video game consoles, like, things will always be better when the two top brands are directly competing against each other.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it works in anything.
Yep.
If you don't have competition, then you don't have to worry. And right now, as far as I'm concerned, PlayStation doesn't have competition. I know I know in November I'm going to get a PlayStation 5. I know I'm going to play Cyberpunk 2021 on it, or
Absolutely.
2077. Whatever I couldn't think. 2177, and I'm getting. I know that Spider-Man is a day one game.
Yep.
And I know that Ratchet and Clank is a day one game.
Man, Ratchet and Clank is great and all.
Yeah.
But I want my fucking Jack and Daxter back.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. And we'll be talking about Naughty Dog later at the end of the show. But they have teased, this is what they were asked about their next game. We might go back to an old IP, or we might make Last of Us 3. We're undecided yet. I'm like, you give me a Jack and Dexter.
Yeah. Like, I
Like,
love those games so
I
much.
have the platinum trophies on all three of them on PlayStation 4.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, because the Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, like the little spin-off game that came out after 4, one of the pre-order bonuses for that was Jack and Dexter on PS4, and that was the only way to get it for like 6 months.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool, though.
Yeah, that was really cool of them. And then eventually they made it, purchasable for everybody for like, I think they were $7.99 a piece. And then right at the same time they released 2, 3, and the racing game, Jack X Combat.
Oh yeah.
And that was actually the first times that I ever played 2 and 3 were on PlayStation 4.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so
Wow.
I played the original Jack and Dexter on PS2. I played through it again and got the platinum on PlayStation 3. I played through it again and got the platinum on the Vita.
Oh, Vita.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I owned one at one point.
You know what's crazy? We're probably like the last age group that remembers a PSP in general.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I could see that. PSP had a Jack and Dexter game too. It had that Dax game. I never played it, but
this is kind of like completely off topic of where we're going.
Yeah,
but PSP should have been widely more received than it was. That handheld console was way before its time.
Yes.
It should have gotten more respect, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. It was a handheld console that could produce the graphics of the current, consoles of that time. A PlayStation 2 game could play on a PSP.
Like, it had never been seen.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, other than the Switch, and I'm not like knocking Nintendo graphics, but like, other than a Switch, we still really don't have that. Like, tell me something handheld that can replicate, for instance, like The Last of Us. Like, come on.
Nothing. Yeah. Yeah, it was ahead of its time, and when they replaced it, it felt like they pushed the Vita out the door, and they're like, all right, we're done. We succeeded. Good luck.
I really think they could like revamp and revitalize that and give Switch a run for their money, man.
Yeah.
I think they could.
What's funny is there at one point, Vitas, when they stopped production on them, were starting to get expensive. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up selling my Vita for more than I paid for it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so I paid about $80 for mine off of Amazon, and I kept it for a year and played it, and I sold it back to Amazon a year later for $120.
Wow. Speaking of, I still think my PSP's in my closet. I think I'm gonna have to yank it out of there one day.
And you can find replacement batteries for those on eBay.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Good to know. Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, because I'll tell you right now, the battery is probably crap. But
yeah.
But our next piece of news, we'll try to slide back onto the rails, and is the very shocking and surprising death of Grant Imahara, which a lot of people will know from MythBusters and the Netflix show. What was that? The White Rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
But what I didn't realize for years is that. One, for how old he was. I thought he was like my age tops. He's like 10
right.
He's 10 years older than me. He was almost 50. But a lot of people, they watched him bring robots on the late night shows all the time to other places people saw him. But he worked at ILM, and that's where he met Adam Savage before he became a Mythbuster. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Another cool piece of information is in the Star Wars prequels, he actually controlled R2.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah. So it's crazy, the people behind the scenes, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything he did for science and the exploration of it, man.
Yeah.
Like he really made science fun for a lot of people,
Yeah.
of all ages, really, man.
Yeah, the MythBusters probably created more scientists, that are out
Oh yeah.
in the world today. People that went to college for science things because of things they saw on MythBusters, you know, than anything else.
I mean, like growing up, you're I mean, you're not really told, but it's kind of
Yeah.
implied that science and stuff isn't really fun and it's boring. And
I mean,
then
Bill
go ahead.
Nye tried to make it fun. It was all right. Mr. Wizard was all right. Mr. Wizard was kind of stale though.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
so, they didn't, there wasn't giant explosions and, things to catch people's eye and
I mean,
attention.
MythBusters really hit that, like they found the edge of the cliff and they
Yeah.
stayed on it the
Yeah.
entire time.
Absolutely. Yeah, like,
Um,
I used to have a DVD recorder that you could use to record live TV to DVDs. And I have probably like a dozen of them that are just full of MythBusters episodes.
I think I've actually watched every episode of every season at this point.
You know, for me, it might have been the last couple of seasons I didn't watch, but I've watched, I would guess, 80 to 90% of it.
I didn't watch the last couple seasons either because they got rid of the B team.
Yeah.
Which the B team, in my opinion, was the A team.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Grant, Tori, and, wow.
Carrie?
Yeah, Carrie.
Carrie.
Blanked on her name there for a second. They were, they were the ones that, the other guys, the two leads, Adam and them, they were going to do something big and crazy, but the B team was probably going to do something more dangerous.
Oh yeah, and I don't know if it was just me, but you could just sense more of a passion and fun from the B team.
Yeah.
Like you could just tell they really enjoyed what they were doing.
Yeah, most of the time. Like that,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. There was a couple of things that were like, I don't want to do this, but we're going to do this.
It's still a job, even though it's fun.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, dead at age 49. That's well before his time,
Oh yeah, well before.
Yeah. But as another person, he'll be missed. Like, he might not have been doing anything on TV right now, but I guarantee he was doing something that was making a difference somewhere in the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But our next little bit of news this week is Mortal Shell had its open beta. I believe it's still going on. Like, I think I can still log in. And man, that game is, everybody just expected it to be a Dark Souls clone, and there is parts of that there, but man, is it very different in a lot of ways.
It is, but it's different in a good way.
Yeah.
Like these guys kind of really know what they're doing. It feels like
Yeah.
like they're really onto something with this.
Yeah, so I have a 1 hour gameplay that I'm going to be putting up on the YouTube this week.
Awesome.
And one of the things that I learned that I didn't learn from watching other people is the guitar, the not a ukulele, whatever the name of the guitar is that you pick up there in the first area that you can play. Once you learn, because when the first couple of times you play it, you sound horrible, and you get better every time. That's one of the neat mechanics about this game. Every time you use something, you learn more about it and get better stats from it.
And I think that's genius,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Super
And,
cool.
and once you max out the guitar, you use it to pull enemies.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
That's super smart though.
Yeah, so yeah, I spent like 20 minutes of the video just being dumb and playing it over and over again. And every couple of times you play it, you get better at it. And after about 15, 20 times, I'm just sitting there, playing it, and all of a sudden the dude just comes running in on me. And I'm like, oh god. And I go to the next area, I can see a couple of dudes, and I was like, all right, let me try it and see if that's what I thought it did. Because it popped up,
Right.
but I didn't read it. and I played it, and sure enough, it pulled one dude right to me.
Wait, so you're saying like even in like a group of people, it'll only pull one?
It seemed like it. Like, these two dudes
Ooh.
were standing fairly close to each other. So, I would be surprised if the other guy didn't hear it.
That's a great
Yeah.
mechanic.
Yeah. And I found out from watching somebody else that, the mushrooms that poison you,
Mm-hmm.
if you keep taking them, after you eat 7 or 8 of them, whatever it is to get the max on that one, you become immune to poison.
Oh,
Yes.
that's huge.
Yeah, because
Wow.
because there's a couple of areas there, even in the beta, where there's areas where there's poison creatures and poison gas.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I did not make it all the way to the end of it because I'm bad at combat. But
I mean, yeah, I don't know if you're bad at combat, it's just a hard game.
Yeah.
But the thing I really enjoy about that whole mechanic is that it makes you explore items, and you nothing's really done that before.
yeah, it was definitely interesting to say the least.
It makes you not take anything you pick up at face value.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I 100% see that. Yeah, there could be something that could be good for you early on that could hurt you. Like, it could come with a penalty later. There's no guarantee that everything we do will continue to get better. There might be things that get worse.
it's like the healing mushrooms, not the poisonous ones.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, since that was a thing. Well, I mean, even more so now thinking about it. I wonder if you take so many of those, if it eventually starts dwindling the effects.
Yeah, like diminishing returns every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting. But
It'd be awful. But
yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting. Trust me, when the full game comes out, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm probably not playing it, but I'm going to enjoy the hell out of watching some other people, live miserably through that game.
I think I'll play it. I'm a pretty big fan of Soulsborne style games,
Yeah.
and just the uniqueness of this one has me really intrigued.
Yeah, I just feel like if it's a game that I buy, it's just another one that goes on the backlog.
I mean, yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that either. I mean,
I made another video that will be going up on the channel this week is my backlog video, like how insane my backlog is and me trimming it down.
I was gonna say, did it take you like 3 hours to go through it?
No, you don't understand. I left the Nintendo Switch stuff just out of it. I basically, at one point in the video, I go, and there's my Nintendo Switch backlog, 65 games.
And turn back around.
Yeah.
Let's proceed.
But there was one moment, though, that made me laugh at the beginning of it. Like, you don't see me on camera, and I'm just laying these stacks of games right here. And it's just stacks of PS4 games. And at the end of it, I take one Xbox game and put it on top. Because that's the only Xbox game in my backlog.
I mean,
Yeah.
you probably never played either, so.
It's The Witcher.
Good game, worth playing.
Yeah, it's a good game worth playing, but I also like games that at some point respect my time a little bit.
I know, man.
Like
oof.
there's a reason I own it for Xbox and not PlayStation 4. If I owned it for PlayStation 4, I would need to finish that trophy list.
Oh yeah, you'd have to platinum it, and then you would hate yourself at the end of it.
Yeah, like 200 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason I own it for Xbox is to just, as much as you can run through The Witcher, I will try to run through it one day. And, I might set that as a goal for the channel. We get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Maybe I just do a playthrough on Twitch.
I'm sorry if that ever happens to you.
Yeah, it'll come at the most inconvenient time. Like,
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It'll be like, oh, check out all these new games. No, you gotta play The Witcher. You gotta play that.
Damn it!
You gotta play that game that came out 5 years ago.
You know what? I'm almost tempted to buy it on PlayStation for you, just to make you do it.
It'd be like, I'll try to run through as fast as I can every week. Like the bags under my eyes will get bigger and bigger until I'm done, and then like people will be like, he must have hacked the game because he beat it in 125 hours. I'm like, no, I haven't slept in 6 weeks, guys.
Just have to make it through.
But I mean, I have a couple of games like that. Even like digital, like I don't include my digital backlog. Like I talk about my digital backlog and I show the number of purchases on my PlayStation 4. But I say, see all these games, none of these are being completed.
I don't really have a backlog. I may need to start into that.
Maybe I just give you some of my games out of my book. Like, they play these.
No, I might take you up on that. No bullshit.
Yeah, get you a PlayStation 4, and I'll start handing you like Yakuza games. Maybe some Ni no Kuni.
You know, the odd thing about that is I've actually wanted to play the Yakuza games for a while.
Yeah, I know. Me and you talked about it at one point.
Yeah.
And then I have a whole another stack of games here that I talk about in the video that's like this tall. That is nothing but games that I've bought season passes for and haven't went back and completed DLC. Like Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I never completed all the DLC for Watch Dogs 2. And Legion's getting ready to come out. But I think I'm just done with that one. You know, there's games that need to be cleaned up, like Days Gone and Persona 5.
You know, man, like, again, we're like way off topic.
Yeah.
But like, I had a lot of high hopes for Days Gone.
Yeah.
It's kind of let me down a little bit.
It was just alright. Like, yeah, you know. And like the first 4 or 5 hours of that game are kind of a slog. Like it takes a while to get going, and a lot of people will just put it down and walk away before then.
I'm one of those people. Like I just can't do it. Like if you're gonna take 2 hours to get into like some real thick core, yeah. I'm super for that. But like anything over like 2 hours, I'm just kind of over it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. Yeah, if it takes more than 2 hours most of the time to get into something, I will walk away from it. Yep. Then there's games that I bought, just even in the last couple of months, like, I was like, I'm going to finally try Fallout 76. No. Nah, yeah, just it's not going to happen. As much as I hated Fallout 4, I don't even know why I bought 76.
You know, man, I was excited that Fallout 76 was gonna make West Virginia maybe look decent, and then it fucked it up even more. It
was funny. It was like the most hated Fallout game is set in West Virginia. Congratulations. Yep. But I did make the joke the day 76 was announced. I was like, yeah, a game set in a desolate West Virginia. They probably just, mapped Logan and
maps.google.com. This looks great. Let's use it.
It looks desolate and run down anyways, and there's people, out there, looking for their fix. So they might not be called rads, but or Radaway.
Not much difference.
Yeah. But our next topic, and it isn't much of a topic, it's just another, hitting point. I'm sure we'll talk about it for a couple of minutes, is No Man's Sky just put out this weird update that basically they're a horror game now. It feels like you go, and I loaded it up. I had to try it out before we got on the podcast, and I loaded it up, and I jumped around a couple sectors, and I found one of these abandoned freighters. And when you get inside of it, it is straight up like aliens, like creepy shit. But these freighters are completely full of high-end materials. So, like, if you're a person that's played the game a long time and doesn't have high-end materials, or a new person, like, going into these things and getting materials, like, you will get everything. And right now, get the material to add slots to your ship. And it was bugged. It might still be bugged. And like I have this nice S-class high-end ship and a high-end freighter, and I was just like, okay, I'll put it on my freighter. And I put it in my freighter, and it was still in my inventory, and it opened a slot, and I was like, well, that's weird. I was like, maybe it's just taking a second. And I hit it 3 or 4 times, and the next thing I knew, all my inventory slots in my freighter were unlocked.
Oh.
Yeah, so it is a known bug in the community now, and everybody loves it.
Oh, yeah, I could see why.
Yeah, because slots cost like millions of credits. So
Right. No, I hate No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
I've hated
I know you do.
No Man's Sky for a while.
Yeah.
I respect their attempt at doing something.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah, like
in my opinion, what they really should have done was like work on planet generation, man. Put maybe an end goal for the entire fucking game that actually meant something or had substance.
Yeah. Well, I would say, really, to me though, a lot of survival games don't feel like they have a legitimate end goal. Like when I played Ark, I was like, I don't know what the end goal is. This I'm just going to collect dinosaurs and build a glass house, which was a bad idea. And
Well, which no, I get that, but most survival games don't act like they have an end game.
yeah.
And No Man's Sky always had just an inkling of enough story to kind of pretend
Yeah.
that it had something at the end of this journey, and there's nothing fucking there worthwhile.
Yeah, you get to the center of the universe and it kicks you back out to a random spot in the galaxy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for the closure, dickheads. Appreciate it.
But, yeah, so when No Man's Sky came out, I bought the game. Well, no, I didn't buy the game. I was given the game day one.
Oh.
And
I bought it.
and I didn't like it. Like I played it for about 5 hours and I uninstalled it and I was like, listen, like I was supposed to make videos and stuff and I was like, I'll give you guys your money to not let me. And they're like, you know,
Right.
it's fine, don't worry about it. Is basically what they said. And then I never touched it again, like because they just sent me a code.
Right.
And a couple of years later, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years later, I was in a pawn shop one day and they had the collector's edition, like steelbook, the ship, everything.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and they only wanted $20 for it. I was like, all right, I'll buy it. I'll sit it on my shelf as a reminder of why sometimes pre-orders bite people in the ass.
Yeah. I would have bought it for $20 too.
Yeah.
But man.
And then whenever they put the big update out last year, I went back to it, and man, it is drastically different. Like there's so much more. And I built a big, massive. I found a planet that was mostly water, and built a gigantic underwater base.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That massive update did definitely help it.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it still needs a lot more. And also in my opinion, I don't think horror was the more that it needed.
It's very funny. It's funny because whenever I went back to the game for a while last year, even after I've set up all my bases and stuff, one day I decided to go exploring and find cool planets. And set up a small base there, because I could set up a small base and a portal there, and I can hop through the portals to my other planets.
Right.
And so I just spent like 2 days in VR, because on PlayStation they did put out the VR patch, and just played the game in VR and had a blast, just discovering planets.
I bet in VR it would be much more immersive at that point. Maybe I need to try in VR.
Yeah, like I enjoyed it, and I imagine the PC version got the VR patch at some point.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's basically all we have to say about that. It's a really weird update, and I might make a little video where I explore one of these creepy ass freighters.
And the only reason I'm so upset with them is I just wanted more, and it just hurt me.
Well, do you know that in the community, in the No Man's Sky community, there's a bounty. I don't remember if you remember the big giant worm that was shown in one of the early trailers.
Yeah.
So there's a bounty out there for people to find that worm. Nobody has still ever found that worm.
It's probably not in the game.
I think they said it is.
Oh,
Yeah. But
wait,
we're talking about hundreds of thousands of procedurally generated planets.
wait. Are you talking about the worm in the sand that comes out
I think
and does
so.
like the?
Yeah.
I totally remember seeing it. No bullshit.
Uh, yeah.
Had no idea there was a bounty. I thought it was just like the beginning game for everybody. I don't know.
Like it might have been, something that was in the very early build. It was still available, but it became like a non,
Right.
thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's basically all we've got to say about it. I will, like I said, I'll make a video exploring one of these freighters. But the next one I'm just gonna hit on briefly is Destiny 2 Beyond Light, which is their expansion that was supposed to come out in September, has now been delayed till November 10th, which is the worst possible time.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, like to the point to where I'm like, you know what? I don't even know if I'm gonna buy it this year. And as somebody who just came back to Destiny about a month and a half, 2 months ago, I had a lot of content to catch up on. I'm still, I have exotic quest like crazy, but every exotic piece of armor and every weapon that will fall freely out in the world, I own.
Right, right.
So the only weapons I don't have now are ones that are tied to raids and exotic quest. And some of the exotic quests are harder than the raids. So
I'm not huge into Destiny,
yeah.
but I can throw my 2 cents on the timing.
Yeah.
Man, they really dropped the ball on that. Like if you're gonna postpone it until after that release,
Yeah.
you should have probably pushed it farther back and then made a small patch of a little bit of content to hold people over.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. What they're doing is because the game now is broken down into seasons, where like every 3 months you pay $10 for a season pass, and you get a track just like you do in Call of Duty and Fortnite and all those other games now, and so instead of that ending in September, that will be extended out till November 10th. And the only thing they've told us is they're going to try and put a couple of small things into the game, like a couple of extra Iron Banners and the Halloween event that happens every year. Basically, that's the holdover content. So basically what they're saying is, once you guys get bored of it, go play something else for a couple of months and we'll see you in November.
Yep. Just November. It's not the time, man.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I mean, we've already talked about, Cyberpunk. Assassin's Creed.
Mm-hmm.
The launch of the consoles, which we know are going to have games tied to them. We're getting Spider-Man. Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank, and I don't remember that Astrobot game that they showed off in the PlayStation 5 again, where you play as the little robots. They were like on a beach and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it was announced yesterday that comes with the PlayStation 5.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, you kind of just sold me on buying a PS5.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so it's one of those things like I have enough money for a console, but I don't have money for a game. No. Well, don't worry, we've got you covered.
We got your back, guys.
And plus, all the free to play stuff too.
Oh yeah. But like, what? When does the PS5 drop again?
All we know right now is November.
Okay, so Assassin's Creed drops what date in November?
17th.
Okay, so yeah, as soon as that drops, nobody's gonna be on Destiny. Like, as
Yeah.
soon as the PS5 drops, nobody's gonna be on Destiny.
The only people that are going to be playing Destiny at that point are the streamers that are running the raid.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm probably not even going to purchase it until later in January. January is probably the time that I will have to touch it.
See, that's what I was actually thinking. Put small patches in to fill the void, and if you really need to do that much work to it, push it to a time that's not only beneficial for you as a company, but beneficial for consumers when they actually have time they want to invest into it. Just constricting everything down to everything that's happening in November. I just don't think it's a great idea.
I mentioned Spider-Man a minute ago. I just found out yesterday too. Apparently, it had been announced that the Spider-Man Miles Morales game comes with a complete remake of the Spider-Man game from 3 years ago, with all the DLC.
Okay. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
That's insane content there. Jesus.
And which if backwards compatibility is going to work on PlayStation 5 the way it works anyways, I wouldn't have to have bought it again anyways. But it's nice that it's there, for the people who didn't play it, whoever, it's nice that it's there.
It's a really good gesture
Yeah.
for consumers in general, whether you've played it and own it now or haven't at all. It's still a good gesture.
Yeah, and we're going to get a lot of free upgrades for games this console generation too. It looks like because they've already announced the Cyberpunk and Marvel's Avengers and Assassin's Creed and a bunch of those games have already said if you buy it on PlayStation 4, you have it on PlayStation 5.
Right. And I kind of I don't know. There's talking about backwards compatibility. That it kind of leads into or the next topic of conversation. Yeah. Do you think that all of these delays are happening for a reason, or do you think it was more based around the world catching on fire?
I think a lot of it was just the world catching on fire, to a point, because there's still a lot of these companies that are still working from home.
Right, yeah.
And not everybody was set up to do that, so that takes time. Does this person have a computer they can work from at home? Yeah, they've got one from 5 years ago. That's not going to render a background, so we're going to need to take them a computer, set it up on our home on our network, so people can't get into it, and go from there.
It's not as hard as you would think either.
Nah,
it's pretty easy.
Yeah. But you gotta figure that, probably 5 IT guys trying to set up 500 computers for people.
I mean, yeah, definitely time consuming. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'd imagine, which, people will say, oh, that's not true, but people, working from home sometimes aren't going to work nearly as hard as the people in an office. Especially when it comes to the crunch, when you're in an office and your bosses are right there on top of you, and you're in crunch time. You're going to stress out a lot more than if you're sitting at the house eating a sandwich. And coloring bushes in the background.
Man, this sandwich is great today. I did a good job. Oh, what was I doing?
Oh yeah, that bush. It gets the final game comes out. It's only half rendered bush. There's no leaves.
That's what I was gonna say. Guys, if you see in these games that have been delayed bushes that just don't make sense, we know it was because of a sandwich or a snake.
Yeah. It's weird, Cyberpunk, it delayed twice this year.
Yeah.
Marvel's Avengers was delayed once this year. The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, and Iron Man VR were all delayed this year.
Dying Light 2 was delayed
indefinitely.
Even Ghost of Tsushima was delayed there for a little while, wasn't it?
It was basically pushed back a month. It was The Last of Us was given its release date, and it was pushed back into July, which is fine because there's nothing to play right now.
Right.
And Ghost of Tsushima just came out, and it's filling that void for a lot of people, especially people in the streaming community. People have been on backup games since they finished The Last of
Us. Skull and Bones was delayed for God knows how long.
That's another just indefinitely.
Yeah. There was a lot, man. It really has been the year of delays, which I mean, granted, it's kind of expected.
Yeah, when people can't go into the office and work with the kind of equipment they have and have the people that they need something from right next to them, hey, are you done with that background? Yeah, I need to render this guy into it. And, that guy is an hour away across the internet, and you're having to zoom in and be like, hey, are you done? And he's just sitting there Eating a sandwich.
It is great. Am I done with what?
What was I supposed to do exactly? What are you talking about?
And honestly, over like technology, of course, like what these guys had at home to work on these games, there is a huge issue. But I really think communication would be too.
Yeah.
Like again, like you said, sitting directly side or beside somebody who's working basically on the same general project that you are.
Yeah.
Not being able to be like, hey, that's got to be super super rough for these guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But some of these games are finally starting to come out. Like at one point, Marvel's Avengers was a May release, and now it comes out the week that the Destiny DLC was supposed to come out in September. So now, basically, that and Cyberpunk was supposed to come out in September. Originally it was supposed to come out in April, and then it was pushed to September, and then it was pushed until November.
Yep.
But they did say that the game is done. It is just fixing, making sure everything works the way they want it to.
Right. More games that were delayed. Animal Crossing was even delayed.
Yeah.
And you know what, man? That game was a lot bigger than I expected it to be. It's a really good game, but I didn't expect people to lose their mind over it like they did.
Yeah. Well, it was the perfect event of the world shut down and everybody was at home. And here's this fun casual game that could get really grindy if you really want to get into it.
Well, it's like here's this fun casual game that you can put your effort into and like see your entire island build. And not only that, it's like really the first Animal Crossing to where you could easily access your friend's island.
Yeah. And
that was huge too, especially when quarantine hit. So they're geniuses if they plan this. Yeah. I'm just saying.
And right now, buying a Nintendo Switch is an impossibility.
Yeah.
Like, to find a regular Nintendo Switch is impossible. I followed this Twitter called Cheap Ass Gamer. They always show when games are on sale and stuff like that. Because I am relatively cheap sometimes.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, and I was, I'll whenever I see a game, I'm usually like, yeah, I'll pay full price for that, or no, that's a $20 game.
Right.
Yeah. And they will post whenever Amazon or Best Buy puts Switches back on sale on their websites, and if you look at that post and 2 hours have gone by, it's sold out.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm glad I bought mine when I did. I got mine used, but I'm still super glad I picked mine up before the massive shortage.
Yeah, definitely. Because there are people right now, you look on eBay and you look at Amazon. It's all secondhand sellers. Even your local garage sale, Facebook garage sale stuff. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I have a Switch with Mario. I want $500 for it."
Yep.
You're dumb.
They are, but they're selling them.
Yeah, they're selling
that's the problem.
Yeah. So that means if I were to sell my Switch and my collection right now, I could buy a house.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I have this app on my phone that keeps track of how much my Switch collection's worth, and I hate to open it sometimes.
I'm actually super curious about that, really.
Let's see. My collection is worth... Yeah, it's worth $2,600.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. I also have one of those for my Funko Pop collection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The official Funko app will do that. But
Nintendo has a track record of doing this shit, though, man.
Yeah.
They've always had an undersupply for the massive demand for their console.
Yeah, but there was a point there, I was pretty easily able to get a Switch. Like when they came out in April that year, and
Yeah.
Splatoon came out in August, and I bought mine in August when Splatoon came out.
Hmm.
Like, I had no problems getting one. Like, yeah, my local Walmart didn't have one. They told me if I ordered one online, it would be like 4 days before it would show up at the store. But
I'm,
at the same time, I was able to go to Best Buy's website, order one, and pick it up that next day,
right. Yeah.
which made me late for work, but I didn't care.
But I mean, you'll have that.
Yeah, I had
Switch is more important.
it was that day.
Yeah.
It was a Sunday. Nobody's coming in.
No, of course not.
Yeah, so my Funko Pop collection is worth $1,200.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't even think I added the last couple that I bought. like Jim Henson behind me, and this blue Vegeta, chrome blue Vegeta that I got the other day.
I need to go get all my Funkos and put them up back here somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know that there'd be people that are watching this at some point just looking like, look at all the shit behind him.
Yeah, and they're gonna look at my bare ass walls and
They're
be
like,
like
we got strategy guides, we got steel books. You guys can't really see those, but they're right here. We got the Switch collection. We got Funkos, Legos, Funkos, Amiibos, Ninja Turtles, Skylanders.
Yeah.
And you can't even see the top shelves that are Cuphead vinyls, Transformers, and Power Rangers.
Okay, hold on. If you would ever be willing to get rid of the Cuphead, I would buy them from you because I am a huge Cuphead fan.
Yeah, I enjoyed that game, but I never beat it.
I've beat it like 5 or 6 times.
The day it came out, me and Chris co-opted it for about 3 hours, and I was like, you know what?
Wow.
I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck this. I'm done. I want a milkshake.
Milkshake sounds great, actually.
I can't have one now, but I could then.
Right, yeah.
But, I mean, we've only got one topic left. You know, we've got about 30 minutes left, which we have no hard out time. We're going to talk until we don't want to talk anymore.
Right,
But, the last one that we have to talk about, and will be the most probably controversial and up and down topic of the week, so it was really great that we used the first podcast back to talk about it, is The Last of Us 2.
Oh, yeah.
I played through it, and you know we both have our opinions on it. My opinion has changed on my second playthrough, even though I am not done with my second playthrough, and I've listened to some things other people have said and changed. Maybe, you know, they gave us a little bit more closure than what we thought, but not really. But maybe that's people reaching, you know.
I'm excited to hear that then, because I feel like there was, well, there's half of the story we got closure. Like on Abby's side, we got closure in a sense, but like Ellie's side, we didn't get fucking shit.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people who are saying that there's some kind of bracelet she's wearing at the end that was given to her by Dina, and you know it alludes to the fact that, you know, Dina's waiting back in Jackson for her or something like that. And I was like, I don't know.
I think that's reaching really hard.
Yeah, it's a bit of a reach out there, but I will just want to talk about the story in general. I figured I've known for a long time that Joel was going to die. There was no way that, you know, Ellie could grow as a character with Joel there. But the problem is Ellie did not grow as a character in this game.
Yeah, she didn't at all. Like, I completely agree with that assessment too. Like, as loved as Joel is, something had to happen here to kind of break up. I mean, it's The Last of Us. Come on, like they're not happy games. They're not. like something shitty happened, or something shitty has happened in each one multiple times. I feel like it was pretty easy to see that Joel was going to die. And I think my biggest issue, kind of like you said, was they gave her a huge opportunity to grow and kind of like flourish into this like adult, right? And it just got fucked.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% agree with that. And a lot of people, ended up, Abby, being the one that killed Joel and then having to play, that turned off a lot of people. The first time through, it really turned me off. Like, at the end of my first playthrough, I liked Abby about 20%, and now I like her about 45%. But that's probably as much as that's ever going to get for me personally. But I've seen some people say that Abby was their favorite character in the game. Yeah, I know. You're definitely on that list of people. But
I'm on the Abby train.
Yeah.
And honestly, at first when you switch over to playing to Abby, it all happens in very like super tense situations.
Yeah.
And initially I really felt like the pacing of the game just took a weird kind of like left turn, like a detour.
Yeah.
But the further down the road in the game we got, the more I kind of really enjoyed how they paced it, and I kind of felt and understand what they were trying to do.
Yeah, I understand what they were trying to do. I just, wish it would have been, I don't know, paced out a little bit better. And, people complained about the length of the game. Really, it's not bad, but, like, even me, the first time through, I complained about the length, and as I played through the second time, I was like, but, okay, so where am I cutting? What am I taking out? Like, there's a couple of small instances of Abby stuff that I was just like, yeah, I don't need this. But for the most part, I'm perfectly okay with it. And really, the end, a chunk of day 2 as Ellie, I think, is a little slow.
Yeah, it kind of drags.
Yeah, like the part where she goes out by herself.
Yeah.
After Jesse shows up, I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Like it really felt like filler in a game that they were trying to build to the point to where they wouldn't need filler.
Yeah.
I don't know though, man.
There's some areas of the game that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Day 1 Seattle with Ellie.
Oh yeah.
That just great open area, There could be tons of things that people missed in that area. That, people might not have got the whole conversation in the church, or in the dog, in the pet store, different conversations that happen on different layers of the courthouse. Which you do have to go into the courthouse, but you don't. But there's a couple of definitely optional things in there. I covered every square inch of that area, and I know I did because I got a trophy for it on my first playthrough.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a trophy for basically going into every building in that open area, Seattle area.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it randomly popped, and I was like, wait, what? I popped a trophy. I was just riding the horse.
I was just having a good time. If I can give the game like one like huge praise, it's fucking beautiful. Yes. It's gorgeous. The scenery, the environments you're in, it kind of really makes you feel like you're in a dystopia rundown city. They did a great job, especially in Seattle, in my opinion. Yeah. But that being said, there's more than one major issue. But a big thing that I hate about this game is that it never, like, Ellie never finds out, even at the end of the game, after everything's done, Ellie still doesn't know why Abby killed Joel.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that annoyed a lot of people about the story. And there's still a lot of people that are still, say Ellie should have killed Abby. On my first playthrough, I was definitely one of those people. I was like, I should have cut her throat or drowned her right there in the water. And I've watched YouTubers and I've watched other Twitch streamers that agree with that. But at my second playthrough, I'm like, keeping her alive, that flash of Joel, to me, at this point, says that that was her brain telling her that that was the path that Joel did not want her to go down.
Oh, 100%. I super
Yeah.
agree with that. And like, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just fucking soft. The time I played as Abby just kind of like really connected me to her story. Um, so like seeing everything she went through and what happened in her life
Yeah.
that Ellie had no idea about.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if she did, she wouldn't be on such a manhunt for her. I mean, I know Joel meant literally everything in the world to her,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, even though they had had a falling out,
yeah,
because she found out the truth about what
hmm
happened in the first game, that Joel lied to her and killed all those people
right,
to save her life.
yeah.
But they had that conversation where they were starting to put things back together. So really, her and Joel ended on a negative note.
Oh yeah.
And I think
And
that was one of the things that caused the amount of grief that she was having.
oh no, I mean absolutely. But like, I really, I really think they, I don't know. I really think they wrote too much of a revenge into her. Like she was kind of like blinded by it.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's not really ever been blinded by anything else, which I mean, she's not really had something this massive happen to her before
Yeah.
either. But I don't know, it just seems like she wouldn't listen to rationale
Yeah.
all at
Well,
all.
and Tommy didn't help.
Oh
Like,
no.
no, Tommy coming back is what set her off. Because
Oh yeah.
there's a year's time difference between the end of Abby Day, the end of the events, and then being on the farm. A year has passed.
Yeah.
So, she was willing to try and move on, even though she was having the PTSD flashbacks and stuff like that. Keeps reliving that same day. She was willing to try and work her way through it in the way she was.
And man, like I know Joel's Tommy's brother,
Yeah.
but I just don't think Tommy would have done that. I really don't.
Yeah, well, my question is, why did Tommy go from we're going to let her go and not kill her to you need to go back and kill her?
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Was it because I know him and Jesse were close,
yeah.
and was that her also killing Jesse what pushed him back to wanting his revenge, or what?
But I mean like a year had passed,
Yeah.
man. Like I do not see. I just think that was fucked up writing. Tommy loved Ellie basically like a daughter, the same way Joel did.
Yeah.
And I mean, they weren't as close, but they were still close.
Yeah.
I really don't think I don't personally feel that it was in Tommy's character to go and just try to reel her back in.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
Yeah. And the funny thing too, and this for some reason this didn't hit me, but I was reading through some comments one day, and somebody was like, if Ellie would have just stayed at the farm there outside Jackson, Abby would have died anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
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 Because technically Ellie saved Abby on that cross thing that the Scars or the Seraphites put her on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, that was a little out there. I was like, yeah, that is kind of interesting.
One thing I kind of did enjoy though is as she came back and realized Dina wasn't there, she picked up the guitar and she had her fingers that were gone.
Yeah.
I really think at that point when she couldn't play,
Yeah.
the path she took kind of set in for her.
Yeah.
I think it really became a realization of an oh fuck, maybe I went a little bit too far.
Yeah. No.
At least I hope.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, it would be interesting to see. They've said there's no DLC coming for this game.
Really?
Yeah. So we'll see. They did say they were working on the multiplayer, but the multiplayer sounds like it's going to be its own standalone thing.
I could see that.
Yeah.
But if you kind of go on past the end of the game, we know where Abby's going. Abby has found a center for fireflies.
Yeah.
Which is only going to do one thing. Yeah. It's going to rotate straight back around to Ellie.
Yeah.
Because she's the cure.
Yeah.
So if the third one comes out, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be Abby as the main character.
Yeah, I would expect that Abby and Lev would be the Joel and Ellie of 3.
Yeah.
Is what I would expect. You know.
I mean, they set it up that way.
Yeah.
They super did.
Yeah. And really, we got a preview of it in, parts of this. But, I mean, there's still parts of Abby's character that I didn't like. Ellie didn't know that girl was pregnant when she killed her.
Right.
But Abby was absolutely going to kill Dina if Lev did not walk in that room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Lev is Abby's redemption. Without Lev, Abby is still the person she was before. And people, like to mention that, well, Abby didn't kill Ellie. She let her live. I was like, I watched that scene back a couple of times now, and there's at least 2 people in that group that pull guns to shoot Ellie.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not Abby that stops them.
No, it was Owen.
Yeah, it was Owen that stopped him. And you could see Abby's upset about all of it, and Owen says something to her. And, we don't see what that is, but I'm willing to bet that was Owen saying to leave her alone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because...
Well, I mean, towards the end, when you have another flashback, I think when, I don't know if it's an Abby or an Ellie flashback, you do get to hear a little bit more of that conversation.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it still didn't really come together a lot.
Yeah. But, and the Owen character, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't like him at all.
Really?
Yeah.
I can kind of fuck with Owen.
Well,
do you know the only problem
I thought he was the moral compass of the group. He most definitely was. But but then the Latino guy, I forget his name. When he died, I was like, yeah, fuck him, because he was the one that pulled out the gun that was going to shoot Ellie.
Oh yeah,
and,
he turned around.
Yeah, and I was like, nah, fuck him. He dies.
I don't know. Like, there's not a whole lot about Abby I didn't like. But they were both on a weird, like, revenge trip.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It was kind of weird, like, once Abby got her revenge, she wanted nothing else to do with anybody else having their revenge.
Right.
Yeah, Which would be probably true of a lot of people.
I mean... Ellie was kind of the same way.
Yeah. But, Ellie never quite got hers. And I will say, a lot of people were like, well, Joel got what he deserved for killing her father. Well, if you watch the flashbacks of her father, he wasn't a good person, in my opinion.
No. Well, and the thing, too, is I know they were dead set on getting this cure, but... I mean, her dad kind of pulled the blade first. Yeah. Like, he went after Joel. And I think... Yeah, if...
No,
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, he watched a guy with a gun come in the door and pulled a blade on him. Yeah.
I think if they would have let Ellie go with Joel, nobody would have died. Nobody. Well, I mean, other than the other
fire
stuff, the fucking zombie apocalypse. But Which, like, if you were in Joel's position, what would you do?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't let them kill a kid for something that might not work. You know? Yeah, this game's set 20 years in the future, and they're using old, outdated technologies because technology hasn't advanced. It's rescinded in this time. What makes this guy think he could do it? And why does he immediately have to start cutting out chunks of her brain? No blood work, no biopsy, which she could live through, to me, he was an unredeemable character. And
I agree.
No,
100%. Like, he had no proof at all that what he was doing would save the world.
Yeah.
So, but still, you have to look at the other side of that. Yeah. Like, what if it would have?
Yeah. And Ellie, we find out, Ellie was completely prepared to die, for that cause.
Yeah, I think she makes the comment. She was like, her life is worth nothing now. Like, she doesn't really.
Yeah, to her, that was what made her life worth living. To that point, being alive. It's what gave her life a purpose, was dying to save people.
I mean, when you're the only person that the entire world that we know of that is immune, that kind of is your purpose, though, isn't it? Like, if a vaccine can be made from you, that's kind of the reason you're trying to stay alive.
Yeah. It was interesting to see, like, the extent that her and Joel had went to hide, like, her bite and the fact that she was immune.
Yeah.
Because you figure if news like that would have come out and there were still fireflies out there, they would have come looking for her. But the way the group kind of disbanded, even though there's supposedly this group outside Santa Barbara, why weren't they searching for her?
Like, on top of that, why did nobody know that was the thing? Like, why was the group of fireflies outside of Santa Barbara, like, not well-known knowledge by anybody else who was, in with the fireflies?
Yeah.
I don't know. But, I mean, we know that's where Abby's heading, with Lev. I'm kind of really excited to see what the Fireflies' goals are.
Yeah. Like, what are they? What do they expect from themselves now?
Right. Yeah. Because, like, we know probably as much as we'll ever need to know about the Seraphites and how they live their life and stuff like that. But, like, Fireflies are still, even as modern as they are still kind of a fucking mystery.
Yeah. Seraphites are very, very, and they're kind of religious culty, even though they are. Even though the director kind of doesn't like, I guess, people referring to them in that way. Or he had a funny comment where people were during the leaks, and don't get me started on the leaks. But I will talk about them here in a minute, because they've ruined a lot for me, I feel like.
Yeah.
That one of the main protagonists were these religious zealots that hated gay people, and I was like, well, technically the Seraphites line up right with that.
Yeah.
And the fact that they won't call Lev, they call him by his former name.
Yeah.
Would to me says that that's probably not within what their religious belief would be.
What I mean, to try to say that they're not a religious cult is insane to me.
Yeah.
Because the proof is everywhere. So they use scarification on their face to mark their face.
Yeah.
They have a random god, like, that they made, basically, that they follow. Like, that's why and how they do everything that they do. It's a fucking cult. It's just a cult.
But I think like his big part of it might have been like they're referring to it as like a Christian cult or something like that. But
Yeah,
still, yet it's a cult, buddy. That like you created a
yeah.
cult, like that's what it is.
Like it's not Christianity at all, but
No.
it's definitely a religion. When you
Yeah.
have a large group of people that literally live by the same beliefs,
Yeah.
at that point it's a religion.
Yeah.
So it's just wild to me they said it wasn't like a religious cult.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I saw another interesting thing. I was watching a YouTuber the other day, and she said that she wishes it was a choice at the end, whether to kill Abby or not.
Ooh,
But that creates a problem.
it does.
For sequels, unless they're just like, all right, this is the canon ending, and the other one is fan fulfillment. You know.
I mean, they could do that,
Yeah.
but nobody would be happy with the selection then,
No.
because if you pick the non-canon ending as your most heartfelt choice and it doesn't mean anything at all, people would lose their mind even more.
Yeah. Nah, I agree with that. Like the ending is what it is, and we just have to live with it. You know.
I refuse.
Like I refuse. And let me go ahead and mention too that Laura Bailey, who is the voice and vocab, you know, she did all the stuff for Abby, has received horrible death threats
Yeah.
and like all kinds of crazy shit sent at her. Neil Druckmann, the director of the game, has received death threats and
Yep.
all kinds of anti-Jewish stuff, and you
Yep.
know, people calling it that is absurd, and people need to get a life.
Listen, I understand being upset.
Yeah.
I understand not enjoying the game, and I understand it not being what you want. But at the end of the game, or at the end of the day, it is literally just a game. Like, you can't threaten people over this, man. Like,
Yeah.
seems like people have growing up to do.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest though. Like things like Twitter and stuff, it's made so many people. Yeah, I can go right now and make a fake Twitter account and go threaten 10 people's lives.
Right? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
you know that, but my real Twitter, on the other hand, has my actual name on it, because
Right.
that's how I feel on the internet. I feel that I have to represent myself on the internet, and sometimes I'll see somebody tweet something and something horrible will roll through my head, just like a smart ass remark, and I'm just like, you know what, nah.
See, man, I go a little bit farther than that. So, like, I'll see something fucked up, and I'll literally type out a response, and then I erase it. And I'm like, I can't do it. It's not worth it. I just, I don't know, man. People have always taken video games too far, though, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, people become obsessed.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, and it's why a lot of the gaming culture is so very toxic.
Oh yeah.
Trust me, I felt a little toxic last night. It came to a point. I was running people through Destiny Prestige Leviathan raid last night, and there was this one guy. I just wanted to reach to the internet and stab him, like. And I was just like, I was like, oh, you don't understand. Like, there's this mechanic where like 3 people go into, like, they're separated into 2 rooms. You get everybody gets teleported into one room, and then 3 people grab orbs and go back to the first room, and the other people have to call out symbols to the people in the first room, and whatever symbol needs to be dealt with, somebody goes up and like punches a dude that's under that symbol, and that person gets teleported into the room, and that person inside the room randomly gets teleported out.
Right.
So every time this dude would randomly get teleported out of the room, he'd be like, I'm back in the other room, I'm back in the other room. Oh, okay, kill some shit. Calm the fuck down.
Do your job. That's what we're here for.
And then he was like, "What am I supposed to do? I'm back in here." And I was like, "Well, shut up, listen for the call outs, and whenever we say which one to punch, you need to go up and punch that guy and go back to the other room."
Yeah.
But until then, kill a couple of things and shut up about it.
This is not about The Last of Us, but as much shit as I give Destiny,
Mm-hmm.
their raid mechanics are pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Like, they do a really good job with their raid mechanics.
Yeah. Well, I did. That was the last time I will ever do prestige level Leviathan. Like, anybody wants a regular Leviathan run, Scourge, Eater Worlds, Garden, whatever, we'll put it together. You mentioned, oh, I'd like to have prestige Leviathan for the last trophy to get the platinum, and nope, never,
I don't blame you.
never.
I don't blame you.
And I'm not good at everything in that game. Like, there was a jumping puzzle at one point because there's one exotic weapon that has a quest that I haven't done yet, and they're like, "Oh yeah, sure." Two of us will hop in with you, and we'll try to do it real quick before the raid. And I play as a warlock, and warlocks are the worst jumpers in the world. And
They are.
the mission has a timer, and we got to the final boss, and we had like a minute and a half left in a room, and it isn't one of those like kill the final boss. It's one of those kill everything in the room.
Right.
And needless to say, we didn't get it. But
Right.
I was like, well, sorry guys, I only fell about 8 times getting here. But well, yeah, we are off topic again. Do you
Yeah.
have anything else you want to go talk about?
I was just gonna ask about, like, I know you said you had like a change of heart towards The Last of Us a little bit, like some of your opinions changed. If you had to give it like a 1 to 10 scale now, after replaying through some of the game and then reading like comments and some reviews, what do you think you would give it now?
An 8. Like, the only things I'm dropping it for are the missing story elements that I think we needed. I want to know what happened with Dina, and just little things like that. So I think an 8 is a very solid place for it. I don't consider this groundbreaking game of the generation. I think it's an amazingly beautiful game. It is sound mechanically, but
Yep.
there's definitely some writing problems with it. And I think an 8 is where it lands for me.
So like, if I had to give it a rating, I know when we first talked about this like two weeks ago or something,
Yeah.
I was like 4. And I was like, it's fucking shit. But sitting and thinking about it and looking more into it and just kind of refreshing myself with the game, I would have to bump that up to like a 7 or an 8, honestly, because even though there's stuff I really hate about it, and honestly, it's like such small stuff that they could have like taken just a few days and just wrote it in. I think it's a good game. I don't think it's a bad game. But yeah, I drastically changed my opinion. I would give it a 7 or an 8. I'll give it a 7.5.
There you go.
But no, like, the story elements were good until they weren't. The gameplay was good all the way through.
Yeah.
Like, it was a masterpiece gameplay wise. It was a masterpiece scenery, environment, immersion wise, really. In that aspect, it's a good game. If they could have just touched up some of the bullshit, it probably would have been game of the year.
Yeah, and it might still be for some people. Like not me personally. Like, I already tell you, even though I haven't finished Ghost of Tsushima, right now, to me, Ghost of Tsushima is probably going to get a 9.
I really need to get hands on with that.
Yeah.
I want to get hands on with that so bad.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I turned on the black and white mode at one point and ran around for about 20 minutes. Kurosawa mode, because he's
Right.
the one that made the old black and white samurai movies. But to me, that takes like all these magnificent colors and stuff out of the game, and the game is so very pretty, and
Right.
I want all of that there. So I turned it back off and started running around again.
I mean, I get that. I could see to where it's kind of a nice gesture paying homage.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, when you don't want to play a game in black and white,
Yeah.
like that's why we have stuff in color now.
Yeah.
Like, come on, that's why movies are in color now, and
Most
so you
of
can,
them.
yeah, well, it's that's so you can like really experience and feel like you're there. So
But yeah, I'll have more to talk about it. I'll have that done by next week because I'm about 75% of the way through, and I've just been clearing areas as I go, like trying to get everything in the area before I move on, and or I'd already be done with it.
so you know what's crazy?
Hmm.
I think before next week,
Uh-huh.
because I don't want to hear you talk about it
Uh-huh.
because I want to play it.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to buy a PS4.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to buy Ghost of Tsushima,
Well,
and I'm gonna have to play it all the way through before next week.
I'm pretty sure we could just, if you get a PlayStation 4, we can find you a copy of Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the best way to put that.
Okay. I've been looking at one for a long time, but it's so hard because how many months are we away from the PS5 now?
Yeah. Well, it could be one of those things too, where like, you go ahead, you get one if you decide to sign up for PlayStation Plus. There's a lot of and getting free games every month is just fun.
Right.
Like this month's games were NBA 2K20, which is it's one of the, besides Madden and FIFA, it's the next highest selling sports game every year.
Believe it or not,
Uh,
there was a time in my life
uh.
to where I was absolutely addicted to NBA 2K games. I think now the last few games have been garbage in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
but man, the My Player really has substance to it. It really does. It's kind of wild.
This is crazy. Right now in my closet where my Dreamcast collection is, there is a sealed copy of NBA 2K.
Wow.
Yeah, the first NBA.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I will say that 2K up to like 2K3, I think I bought them all the time for
Right.
for all the sports except for baseball at that point. Because now we have MLB The Show, and nothing matches that. So,
Listen, I completely disagree with that. I hate the show.
oh, do you?
Hate it. What was the MLB game we had before the show?
I don't even remember anymore. Like, there was a MLB 2K series back in the day.
I think that's what it may have been.
Yeah.
I much prefer that over the show. But I'm probably like a very small group of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're completely off the. We're done talking about The Last of Us now. If anybody's still listening.
Yeah. All in all, just to like finalize that.
Yeah.
It's not that bad of a game. People give it too much shit, but I understand why they do.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a Last of Us game, it would probably be Game of the Year.
Yeah. 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 I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this game had way too high of expectations to become what it was.
Yep.
For a lot of people, so.
And it happens with every game that sweeps an audience off their feet,
Mm-hmm.
and then the sequel comes out and people shit talk it into the ground.
Yeah, that's right. Mass Effect
Happens
3.
with everything.
Definitely Mass Effect 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's always the one that comes to mind more than anything. And I was always in the camp that The Last of Us didn't need a sequel. Or if it got a sequel, that I did not want to see Joel and Ellie in it. Like, be set in that same world. And, do it that way. And I still think, I think I told you about my idea of a Last of Us game set before, about 5 years before the first one, where you play as Joel and Tommy.
Yeah, you did. And I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That I mean, because we're getting back into this now.
Yeah.
But even though we know a ton about Joel, we don't really know a ton about Joel.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole portion of his past that we have no idea about, and I think it would be super interesting.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Yeah, I think that's just the way, you know.
Let's start a petition.
No, yeah. Well, it might work.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah. You never know. Petitions have been, started over crazier things.
That is very, this is a very odd segue. Doritos stopped making one of my favorite chips a little while back, and I recently found a petition online to bring those chips back.
Well,
best believe I signed it.
Somebody, they started a petition the other day because Taco Bell is getting rid of a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly a lot of the stuff off the dollar menu, it looked like, and anything that has potatoes in it. I don't know. Maybe they just hate potato farmers.
Yeah, asshole.
But they did announce that they are going to add some new stuff, and they're taking a couple of things that weren't on the dollar menu and putting them on the dollar menu. But that's for another podcast. That's for Taco Talk.
As long as they don't take away chicken quesadillas, 5-layer burritos.
They're taking away the 7.
Okay, that's fine. Fuck the 7. The 5-layer burritos where it's at. In my opinion, 7 layers is just too many layers for a burrito. And quesadillas. That's all I eat there. They're all good. Like, as long as they don't take away those things, I'm cool with it. Oh, you don't like quesadillas?
No, they're taking away quesadillas.
Oh no!
They're taking away quesadillas.
Oh, they're so good.
Well, anytime that you've probably seen me eat Taco Bell in the last 8 months, I always have the steak, low calorie, high protein steak tacos, and those are going away.
Oh no, man! What are they doing? Did they give a reasoning why?
They said they were getting rid of things that didn't sell good.
I call bullshit. Buy enough quesadillas to keep Taco Bell in business by myself. So.
No, especially the local one.
Yeah.
That's all right. My cousin has a little girl. The only thing she eats from there is cheese roll-ups. Like
are they doing away with them?
No, they're not. Because they would probably legitimately go out of business at that point. Yeah. But it's just such a simple thing, and it's funny. It made me think about it, and they could try to make her a cheese roll up at home. She's like, these aren't Taco Bell.
So what if they wrap them in the Taco Bell paper? Put them in a Taco Bell bag.
Yeah, I've literally said this to them before, and they're like they've insinuated that they practically tried.
Oh, maybe she just has fine taste. She's I know that shit ain't Taco Bell.
Nah, she's like, nah. You can't get her to eat anything else on the menu. One day, back before I had surgery, we were in there and I got nachos, and I was like, "You want a nacho?" And she's like, "No."
Not a cheese roll up? I don't want
it. Yep. Hey, how about a cheese roll up with some meat on it? No. I mean, no. That's a taco, but she didn't know that. I was just trying to, play the odds.
Yeah. You know what? I think I'm gonna go get Taco Bell after this now.
Not a bad
I gotta
idea.
enjoy the quesarito before it's gone.
And be like, pull up to the window. So, how many quesadillas do you guys have in the back? Could you just not cook them, and I'll buy all of them, and I'll cook them at home.
I'll cook them at home. You know?
It's fine. I'm stored up. I've got 6 months worth of quesadillas.
As odd and as probably terrible as this is going to sound, that would be a dream for me. I would love to have 6 months of quesadillas just stored.
Yeah. You know what? The way I am with food anymore, I don't know what I'd like to have 6 months of just sitting around. It's weird. I don't miss foods, but I don't, except for that day I had a piece of cheesecake. That was like a child's birthday.
It's
Uh,
this is so.
didn't need a fork or just, But yeah, this is the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the show every week. It's probably just gonna be our random ramblings, guys. So,
I'm kind of for that though. It kind of like
Yeah.
really sends it out.
yeah, like I like the a little bit of rambling in the front, all the news, big thing of the week, a little bit of rambling at the end. Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's pretty good, man.
Yeah, but guys, I think that's all we got for this week. So
Yep.
you can catch us here every Saturday, hopefully. At 4.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Unless things change. But you'll catch us once a week. If we change the date, we'll let people know.
Yeah, we'll make sure we advertise the date definitely.
Yeah. We have a Facebook page. Go out and like that if you want updates on there. You can follow me on Twitter at the Joseph Messer. You have a Twitter, right? It's at.
It should be just at Fade121.
Yeah,
Let me check real quick. I can't remember. I don't really use it a whole lot.
Yeah.
I do post on there every now and again.
He has
it's
one.
at Fade121.
Yeah. So the best way to get the updates is going to be through the Facebook page, which will have a link. It does not right now, but it will on the Twitch page.
Hell yeah.
And but yeah, for anybody listening, the YouTube videos will go up on Mondays if you don't catch the podcast, and the VODs, of course, will be on the channel. They're not behind a paywall or anything like that. So
Right.
but that's all we got for this week. So I'm Joseph. That's Nate. Catch you guys next time.
Take care.